connected. Welcome in the house. I am Loreto Di Rienzo, Technology Ambassador of the house. The house is one spin-off of Diluan. Diluan is one factory specialized about the R&D, research and development, technology and sustainability. Our cutting edge ecosystem is based in three main assets. The house is specialized for this. We explore different technology like laser, knitting, 3D printing, in collaboration with different company of the technology, such as Stratasys, Universal Robot, Framis, Coloril, and also research the material thanks to the partnership with the Woolmark company, for example, or Linea Pelle, or Dinamica by Mico. We are very proud to host this event because the Woolmark company is an important partner of the House project. And we are involved in a different activity. And because of the topic today and the spokesman and women is a very interesting argument. We are the opportunity more about the technology, and we host in the house the dedicated part. I hope we'll enjoy this workshop, and I introduce Francesco. From the Woolmark company, and please, Francesco, and thank you.
Thank you, Loreto, and good morning, everyone. Buongiorno a tutti, and buongiorno to all the people that are connected in streaming. So I will be very quick, because I'm not the expert here. You and the people here talking will be the expert, explaining you the amazing world of wool in footwear. So just a few words about the Woolmark company. Everyone more or less knows the Woolmark company, and we are here to stimulate the innovation in products, especially now in footwear. So what you will see are all the innovation regarding wool in footwear, and this is just one of the first series of workshop about footwear and other innovation in wool that we will be presenting in the next week and months. So what else? I hope you enjoy the workshop, and I let the microphone to Birgit Gallen, and please welcome Birgit. Birgit on stage. Birgit is our research and development manager in Europe, and she will start with her presentation about wool and innovation in footwear. So thank you, everyone, and have a good day. Bye.
Okay, thank you, Francesco, for introduction, and Loreto, thanks again for hosting us here. And I'm really so excited that we really have here in-house an international audience. So thanks for all coming and join this presentation. For me, it's just up to make an introduction of wool in footwear. And then we have the specialists who will regardingly talk about more in details of the related themes. So let's say we started the Woolmark company. You know that wool has for thousands years always used for apparel and also for footwear. Then it has didn't use so much because we got the synthetics. And then when we looked more into the casual apparel, the active sports, etc. So, and then last but not least also because STOLL, they started to develop the fly knit, when we really thought about to bring wool back into the footwear. And at that stage, we worked really mainly with machinery producers together in order to bring proposals. And then showing this on trade shows worldwide, we got even then also more requests from the brands and from the manufacturers. And not even last but not least, because I think that's really important, because here we see some of the facts that really also the footwear alone represents about 1.4 global climate impact, and that for decompose, it's now 25 to 40 years. So because you became even much more sensitive versus the environment, and I think this wool can bring a lot of effort into this subject. So I know most of you, they already know what is wool, but we have nearly 200 people online. So just a quick introduction, what is wool? First of all, it's natural. So it's grown on approximately, we have now 68 million sheep, and it just needs water, air, sunshine, and grass to grow. And of course, it's a renewable fiber. It's a renewable fiber, so the sheep needs to be shorn at least once a year. Otherwise, you can imagine. Now I want to show, but I go too far away. That really the fleece will compress really the animal when it wouldn't shorn once a year. So we try also to shear them in spring or in autumn to avoid extreme weather conditions for the naked sheep. It's nothing else than really as we cut our hair. And then I think that's the most important one. Wool is completely biodegradable. So it's naturally decomposed. It takes about 8 months or even more, so or a couple of years in order to decompose. But not only this, it really brings also nutrition back to the earth. So later I will go more in detail. It's really a circular. But not only let's say, the positive, environmentally friendly during the process of growing, but also during the life of the in this case, of course, we are talking about footwear, but also the life of apparel. Zero waste. So we don't throw away anything of the fleece. Even the broken fibers are used in the woolen industry, woolen spinning for carpets, or etc. And even if you think, wool is also composed of lanolin, and this lanolin during the washing, it's extracted and it's sold to. Where do we use lanolin? In the cosmetic industry. So we have really, and then even further, if you go also to the various technologies, even creating the upper shoes also, there are now technologies where really we can shape and construct the upper shoes without any waste. Then also less laundering. If we have apparel, or even if you think also about the footwear, so we mustn't wash as much our wool garments as other fibers. So that's really also important, because the laundering impacts are very important for the environment, but today also in this period also for our money. So really to save also energy. And then wool, it's really the most reused and recyclable fiber. So we have the close recyclable system where we have, it's very important, the Prato area. And and also, I think we also have to think about our consume and how we consume. So really to consume less, to spend well, and really for long-lasting products. And we know that really wool garments are worn even 3 times more compared to cotton, but even also to other fibers, probably even more. I think and then it's also passed in generations, so we also become, let's say, also emotional aspect of our wool garments. Saying that, I think that's also an important. Wool contains carbon, approximately 50%. And yeah, I always, when spoken with designers, teaching is a big word, but making presentations to the students, really to push them to think about, to design for the circularity. Really, how many lives can we have using wool? So it's not just one life. You can think about it's a worsted garment, or let's say a lightweight 100% upper, which then in the second life can become isolation for the houses or something. We really, if we want to bring it down, we really can think about 6 or 7 lives of wool. And at the end, it's biodegradable. And then it's, again, the sheep eats the grass. So it's, and in order to close this, I would like to show you a short film.
The circle, an unbroken cycle. Simple, sustainable, everything that fast fashion is not. We overproduce, overconsume. We take, make, and dispose. We wear a web of synthetic fibers and non-recyclable materials, staying on trend, but doing harm. How then can we design for positive change? Wool is designed by nature, designed for a long life, strong, versatile, recyclable, designed for new life, biodegradable and renewable, from earth to wardrobe and back again. It's more than just recycling. This is true circularity. And wool circularity has a positive impact on everyone. It's a regenerative system, capturing carbon, encouraging biodiversity, and supporting livelihoods around the world. Who knew fashion could do that? Every designer, brand, and manufacturer has the power to determine a life cycle, the choice to take from the earth or to give back. Wool, designed by nature, designed for life.
So that's wool under the point of view, let's say, more on the sustainable environmental aspects. But now, why should you use wool in footwear? And here I would like first to show you another really amazing video where we see, I would like to move, the complex structure of the wool. You see, we have the layering outside. It's responsible for the handle, for the softness, for the drape. When we do have the layer where we have the autocortex with a fiber crimp, thanks to the fiber crimp, we trapped air. The cortical for the color absorption. And then the matrix with the moisture and odor absorption, and in relation to this, also the antistatic. And this tiny little keratin molecule, it's responsible for the elasticity and the wrinkle recovery of wool. You see, it's really an amazing fiber, and this has been tried to be copied in the 14th, but they couldn't really copy everything. So just put together here the most important aspects for footwear, of course, the comfort, for the softness also, if you want to have also to wear our shoes barefoot. The breathability, wool can absorb the vapor when we start sweating. With the temperature regulation. And then I think that's a very important point, the odor resistance, so which brings freshness for our shoes and our feet. And yeah, we do have also this the ability of the stain resistances, because wool has a natural water resistancy. Dirt is soluble in water, so we do have also the stain resistancy. And then innovative, because all of us, if it's the spinners or the machinery producer, or or even looking into soles or inlayers. We really work together in order to bring innovation into the market. And also together with you, when you have requests for sourcing or also product development, it shows us come in contact with us, and we will bring the players together, because we, as the Woolmark company, we are not producing and we are not selling. So we are servicing and bringing all the partners together. First of all, of course, the softness. So more finer the wool is, more softer it is. So it doesn't exist an allergic against wool, but it's rather that when we have a coarse wool like this, which is approximately more than 30 micron, then it's really stiff and will irritate the sensitive nerve. The more finer it is, though it's more pliable, will bind easier, and yeah, it's soft. So we really also recommend, if you want to wear wool next to the skin, so to start minimum 19.5 micron. Breathable. Wool has the natural capacity due to these hygroscopic bindings that wool can absorb vapor when we start sweating, and it's attracted by the outside atmosphere or fabrics which are drier, and so we do have this breathability. So we will feel less humidity and less clammy, so well-being for our feet. Here we can see, so the wool, it can absorb up to 35% of its own weight, and we won't feel that it is clammy. That's thanks to the hygroscopic characteristics of wool. Odor resistance. So here it's difficult to make any special test, etc. But yeah, we made recently a collaboration with Levi's, with the boots. So, yes, the odor can prevent due to, we can, first of all, it's important to prevent the bacteria to thriving by maintaining the lower humidity within the shoes. So that's it really, thanks that wool can absorb the vapor when we start sweating. So it has no place in order to create bacteria. And then the other characteristics that really the structure of wool, that it can absorb and lock the odors, and it just relieves them when it's washed. So, but in this case, it mustn't necessarily be washed. It's just also overnight you refresh it outside with the humidity we have in the air. And then the soil or stain resistance of wool. So it has a lower surface-free energy compared to other materials. And also thanks to the scales of the wool, we have the natural water repellency. The soil or the dirt is soluble in aqua, so it really drips away like the tiles of our house. And now, how to use wool in footwear. And I think later, here we have two representatives of Südwolle Group. They will go much more in details. But for us, it's really, we have really many options. It really depends also what you as a brand, as a designer, want to achieve. So if you want to go for 100% wool, of course, if you then have 100%, it gives you the benefits, the freshness inside of the shoes, but probably then outside we will have less high abrasion resistances. But here also we can blend wool with other fibers, with the new generation of synthetics, or with Cordura, in order to enhance the strength. It depends also if you want to use if you want to create flat knit or woven. And then we do have also, I think you tell it much more better than me, a lot of dyes that can be rubbed yarn. We have beta spun, we have coarse spun, and we can also blend with natural fibers if we want to take the direction of the biodegradability. Because I know also from a couple of outdoor brands, they know in their collections they're really split between old natural fiber blends in order to be more biodegradable, and on the other side the collections where we blend then with synthetics or also with lycra or elastomer. Then we do have also the more sustainable elastomers, which are Roika. But there are really many, many different options where I don't want to go more in details. I leave it. And then what can we do in order to create the uppers? We do have many different machineries available. So if you look into the flat knit, then also flat bed knit. But later also here the case, Alexander will go much more in detail and talk about the advanced knitting technologies from STOLL. We can do also the creation with the Santoni to look into the circular knitting, or even to look into weaving the looms. Here also recently we do have made some collaboration, or we start a collaboration with a company who developed really also, let's say, because with the upper shoe we can also create this mapping where we have special areas, so where we then, in order to enhance the functionality. So just a couple of pictures here, because we are not the designers are you, but here we had my great colleague Brenda in Hong Kong. She really tried to find opportunities and also to make different knits. Here we have the shaped uppers with the flat knit bed technologies, the white one 100% wool, where we have also some inlay. We can work with jacquard in combination also with fusible yarns, which are melted in order to give more consistency. Here, just because I talked before more in active wear or sports, etc. But even we got now more requests also for shoe producers who are looking into ballerinas or high-heeled. So also here we have a variety combining with elastomer and various knitting technologies. Up to the shaped uppers, where we looked into seamless. It could be also the sock technology. And here also, in order to get more consistency to the upper shoe, we need, of course, also the support of the fusible yarns. When we look into cut and sew uppers, here it can be circular knit, it can be woven, where we have simply canvas or wool denims, and also then the creating areas. Of course, here in this case, we have the also the suit. Very important also the wool insoles. Here, later who is here in our, they will see that also our colleague Brenda, she's fanatic a little bit with yoga, and she had also created the insoles with more bulky spaces in order to have a tiny foot massage. But then also the lining can be felt, it can be sheepskin, it can be also, we can also have more layers in order to introduce also the wool wadding into that, or the linings, or 100% wool, always combined. And then we also look more into the applications on wool, of wool in footwear. We did, later we will see it, a lot of work here, where we looked into the 3D printing in order to have also the customization, the personalization, which is really very important, embroidery, or also the taping. So here later we will go and see the various opportunity of the machineries. We can create the water resistancy. Already the yarn can be treated. If needed, the wool can be also washable. Just yesterday I saw in a shop the shoes, which are indicated for machine washability. And also we work also on digital print. So just here, my last 3 slides, it took a little bit longer. So to have you really here, all our technical team is available for you internationally. Here are all the pictures behind our team. And really, if you have requests, just contact us. We can just simply help you on sourcing. We can look into product development, to put also in innovation, to bring all the partners together. So And yeah, and I wanted also we create also the projects. We had lately amazing project with Levi's, which really went also on all the socials and on our website, in the stores. The same with Vivo Barefoot. But I think what we can offer you, we do for product development, sourcing, but also trading. So we have all the facilities to train your team, to the floor staff. We can support you with all the materials, online information, and also POS materials. And last but not least, we do have an amazing online platform, Woolmark Learning Center. You can register for free, and we have several types of courses, really from fundamental courses up to more specific, more scientific, and up to a sustainable course. So that's my presentation. It was an introduction, and I pass to Südwolle. It's Pamela and Roberto. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Birgit.
Yes.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. I'm Pamela. I'm a sales manager in Südwolle Group, Italian branch, and he's my colleague Roberto.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Roberto. I work in Südweb's department, the innovation department of Südwolle Group as a product manager.
And I will make a short introduction of Südwolle Group. And we are a spinner, and we produce worsted yarn, 100% wool of wool blend, dyed and natural. As you can see from the maps, all over the years, we enlarge our activities, and we are based in different parts of the world. We have dyeing plants and spinning mills in Europe, and also production site in China and Vietnam. And the headquarters is based in Germany. Südwolle has a long history of 50 years, and the group faces a lot of challenges, and also achieve knowledge and experience. And due to the fact that we are in constant research and innovation, we developed different products and yarn. And in fact, we have a different collection. We have a Südwolle collection for weaving, Biella yarn collection for flat knitting, yarn in motion for circular, and Richter for hosiery. Then we have also some luxury and fancy yarn, and a specific collection named Store for technical and uniforms. Now, after this introduction, I pass the words to my colleague Roberto that will go in deeper with footwear yarns.
Thank you, Pamela. I'm honored to present you our selection of innovative yarn for shoes application. I start presenting you our last innovative spinning technology, developed and patented by Südwolle Group. Omega Twist provide fabrics and apparel with better pilling performance, abrasion resistance, strong and elongation without the utilization of any chemicals inside. And the beta span technology is advanced technology that allows to wrap around wool fibers filament that can be man-made filament or natural filament to achieve yarn with high performance in strength and tenacity. This means at the end, in the final product, very high performance in abrasion resistant and peeling, and also allow to produce fabrics with complex knitting structure, keeping at the same time the comfort and the benefits of wool fibers. Now we can go deep in the selection of the yarn. I start with circular knitting shoes with Tampico Beta Span and M24 ply 1. Is a blend 100% wool, 90% wool with around a polyamide filament. Griley Folk Beta Span and M29 ply 1 is a 94% wool plus a nylon filament, and Chuck Beta Span that is a blend plus filament, but in this case wool plus thermo catch is a special acrylic for thermoregulation. Wallaby Beta Span is an M60 wool and polyamide filament, and Javala and Toscana are classic wool yarn with untreated wool to produce fabrics to at the end finish to produce boiled wool. And last but not least is in OTW technology, Concorde 100% wool to produce a shoes in pure wool with high performance in peeling. For flat knitting shoes, we select a special blend in wool cordura, because cordura is a special nylon for high tenacity. And the second yarn is OTW Grace, that is a combination between the two technology. Is OTW and beta span plus cordura inside. The same is Agate, that is spun in OTW, but in 100% wool. Bilby beta span is special because are two ply of beta span yarn twisted together. This means a yarn with high tenacity for complex knitting structure. And the Icevik at the end is a special yarn twisted with Grillon filament, that is a polyamide filament that melts at low temperature. These allow to thermoshape at the end the fabrics and also give to the fabrics a high power in abrasion resistance. Last selection is for woven segment. SRP Gallipoli is 80% wool, 20% linen. SRP cord wool, wool and cordura. PMF 100% wool for boiled wool. And at the end, OTW Avedon with Trevira polyester for high abrasion resistance.
And finally, Südwolle, always due to this research, is focused on certification and sustainability. And in fact, most of our products can have a certification like GOTS, RWS, FSC, and our products are Ecotex certified and Blue Sign. Thank you to all for the attention, and don't hesitate to contact us for information. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It's very interesting, the question and the argument. Thank you, Birgit. Thank you, Pamela. And thank you, Roberto. The next speaker is from STOLL, Alexander Bem, Business Development Manager and Technical Textile. And we will discuss the latest knitting advancement in footwear.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much also for the invitation here to this event. It's very special for us to get a chance to speak to designers here in the room, but also to the digital audience. Thank you very much for that. As introduced, I'm a business development manager at STOLL. We are a machine manufacturer for flat knitting machines, and I would say also the leading flat knitting machine manufacturer, especially when it comes to footwear. I think the introduction from Birgit was very interesting because she said the main three words: designing for circularity. Nowadays we have to look into the design from the material side, from the application side, according to the development, how we develop with digital tools or with manual tools, but also, of course, for the machinery, which then will bring out the product, the fabric. I will get in this topic with the topic of hybrid knits, hybrid flat knits. Short introduction to our company, and I don't want to I don't have a lot of figures for you. I just have the idea of networking. STOLL is a networking partner for the fashion industry, for the technical textile industry, but mainly in the connection to the brands on the one side, but also the manufacturers on the other side, because we have to stay close to the floor of the flat knitting machine, of the fabric development, but also to the brands where the ideas come from, where the trends are setting, where sustainability is really an issue and is pushed into the world of manufacturing. We are a part of the Karl Group since now 1.5 years. Karl is responsible for the world of warp knitting. We are responsible for the world of flatbed knitting. And here it comes to the main point I would like to introduce you today, to the hybrid knits. You see here kind of a selection of factors influencing a knitted fabric or a fabric, a textile itself. When we look, for example, at footwear, you look at wool as the most sustainable possibility you have for footwear, but of course also to other materials to get additional functionality. You look for productivity because it's still an issue for manufacturers and for the businesses to have a good and stable and sustainable running business. You look at shapes when we speak about flat. I mean, it's a good idea to speak about flatbed knitting, but also our machines can do 3D knitting. Yeah, even if we look at sophisticated options next to circular knitting machines. Knitted structures are, of course, an issue for functionality, machine technology itself, but also the gauge. I would like to reduce these factors today for these 4: material, shape, knitted structure, but also the machine technology a bit. I would like to start, because we are here and invited also from Woolmark, thank you for that again, and speaking about material. For us, for knitters, material is on the one side the raw material, the yarn and the threads, but on the other side also the fabric itself. So the combination of different thicknesses, different qualities of wool, but also different types, synthetic but also natural fibers, and then in connection or integrated into the structure itself. So the fabric itself has other or can have lots of other functionalities and characteristics than the yarn itself. At first, I will look for the shape, the structure, and the machine technology on the fabric side. Of course, all dedicated to footwear. You see here the various options you can have with a flatbed knitting machine from STOLL. You can, of course, start with a very economically produced shoe panel, footwear panel, which is then laser cutted, has the possibility to have a better productivity for sure. You have shorter knitting times, yeah, for the manufacturer, very important. But of course, you also have kind of some disadvantages according to sustainability, to waste. Yeah, you have at least 10 to 15% waste with this option. You have kind of a 2D option where what we call a fully fashion option, where you don't have the waste, you already have the shoe upper knitted in shape, but you can also be creative and think, okay, I don't have just the well-known butterfly type. You also can connect that, of course, with the midsole. You can connect that with a closed heel. You can connect that with the lining itself already in the knit. And for sure, and maybe that's a bit surprising for the audience here, but also for our audience digitally, you have the option of 3D knitting. Yeah, it's kind of a sock style knitting where you have a closed sock in the toe area. You have a nice instep, and you can still integrate your materials, so like synthetic but also natural fibers, selectively, and also the structures can be integrated and chosen selectively. I would like to go more in detail according to the 3D knitting, because I think this is the most and the newest things we can offer here for you. I think the butterfly style is well known and has already had already a big success in the fashion industry, but also in the sneaker and in the sports industry. Here you see one model, I would say a very clever, smart knitting programmer from our side, who just thought and tried out socks and knitted, I don't know, hundreds of socks, until he thought, okay, I don't just want to knit the sock itself. I also want to, because he thought, okay, the sock has its qualities according to elasticity, to comfort. I can have another material inside of the sock and outside of the sock, but that I will explain a bit later. But you also can integrate a second part, and that would be the part below. That is kind of an outer shell. It's connected to the toe area. The outer shell is blended with fusible yarns, so you have kind of the functionality, the stiffness, the fixation of the foot in the outer shell, and the sock itself stays elastic. And as I said, you can choose if you want to have another material on the inside of the sock or on the outside of the sock. Here you have another option. This is more kind of a single layer sock style, what we call it. Single layer means you have a very thin fabric. You see here on your right side, the gray option would be kind of a general sock, which is already known from sock knitting machines, so small diameter circular knitting machines. But on the left side, you also see the option. I mean, this is a very like standard or prototype you see here, but you already have the option to have additional parts on the knit, like flaps, as we call it, to fix the laces. When we speak about, because this was the shape story, now I would like to have a short introduction into the knitting structure. I mean, I can give you even more information about shaping, but I think then we should go in advance, or in after the session we can go more into detail. Knitting structures, when you think about, again, the development, the design process before the production, starts in flat knitting with kind of your basic shape, and you select certain structures you would like to integrate into the shoe for elasticity, for breathability, so you use more net structures, for example. For stability, you use a blend of materials, let's say a wool, but also a section, for example, for the heel area with a synthetic yarn and a fusible yarn. And this already has to be prepared from the product developer or the shoe designer. The next steps you see here on the left side, you still see kind of the start, the design, the first ideas, but you already see that this is kind of a basic and manual idea of developing the shoe. Yeah, you already work with digital tools to create 3D visualizations of the shoe. But here in flat knitting, we still have to start from kind of a basic, a different angle. The next step, of course, is trying out these structures. In the middle, you see the most common flat knit structures, and I just saw on LinkedIn a shoe designer who said, okay, mainly I use 5 to 10 knitted structures and choose each time from the same structures, integrate them in my new designs, and still just to have the functionality. But for sure, you have kind of a big variability of 100, 200 different structures according to the loop connection or loop construction we can create on the machines. On the right side, you see just a short sample from a fully fashioned sample, wasteless, with the connected knitting program to that. When we speak about knitting structures, for sure you have kind of net style structures, you have closed structures, you have kind of bird eye jacquard structures, so very different structures. The main possibilities we also have on our more advanced machines is, for example, the intarsia style. Intarsia means have different qualities of yarn, for example, next to each other, but without having one material through the whole fabric. So you, in the end, you will save lots of materials because you have a thin and very optimized structure. You have plating options. You have weaving options, and I think this is the most interesting thing for you. Weaving for us means having an inlined yarn next to the loop sticks, what gives you the possibility to increase the stability of the fabric itself, but which also gives you the opportunity to have a knit structure and a woven structure next to each other without sewing, without confection. And I think this is a big advantage when it also comes to sustainable production processes. Here's again the topic of weaving. As I said, you have visual options, but you also can use it for functional aspects. For example, when you inlay a high elastic yarn in the middle of 2 layers, you can use it as kind of a filling yarn and can create already a comfortable lining for shoes, what you see here on the bottom of this slide. But you can also integrate that as kind of a holder for laces, as on the right top or in the right top corner of this slide. When I speak about plating, it's a very special flat knit technology, but this is, for example, one option you have when you speak about you will knit a 3D sock, but you also would like to select which material is on the inside and which material is on the outside of the shoe when it comes to water repellency on the outside, but also a woolen comfort on the inside of the sock. So that would be a most important structure we could use here. When it comes to the machinery, of course, I don't want to go too much into detail, but you see here our most advanced machinery, the ADF machine, which is capable of weaving, of plating, of 3D knitting with extra 2D editions, like I showed you, the sock with the 2 flats. And that would be interesting to explore that for your companies, for you, for yourself, just to be trained on kind of the latest technology flat knitting can offer. Here is again a bit of an overview of the machine types. You have the options of very coarse gauge machines, so where you have kind of a very coarse visual effect, but you also can have a very dense effect with a very high gauge machine. You have components in the machine which will be able to make the weaving, for example, but also to have more pressure on the machine for having more stiffer fabrics. On the right side, you see, especially for blended materials or for very elastic materials, special feeding equipment. In the end, the machine is not the machine, as we say at STOLL. The machine is the machine, the materials which are fed into the machine. It's a sustainable aspect of knitting wasteless, and also the partnerships we have. The partnership with Woolmark, but also with other machine manufacturers like STOLL machine manufacturers, where we introduce our technology to the whole supply chain of developing the shoe, but also producing the shoe. Coming back to material, and thanks to Woolmark, we are also, of course, looking in the big market of woolen fashion shoes, but also sportswear shoes, and you can see it everywhere. I mean, it was just a starting point with sneakers, but it will come to all the other types of shoes, of course. Wool, in the end, is like, we think, a knitted fabric, also a hybrid material with lots of characteristics, and thanks to Birgit, who presented all these fabulous options we have with wool. I just added here some further ideas what we have and how we see wool, but you see the hybrid functionality of the wool, and you combine it with different types. You integrate it in sport shoes, in barefoot shoes for more comfort, in ballerinas, for example, for high-end fashion. You integrate it into sneakers, yeah? And this is, I think, the big advantage that we see here, that you combine the material of wool, the hybrid material of wool, but also the hybrid option of knitting, and have kind of a lens for having a focus on the best of both worlds, let's say. Our flatbed knitting technology can integrate the different materials, wool blends, but of course also the wool itself, and can put it where you want it, selectively integrated into the machine, into the fabric. On the other hand, you have the wool, which is, I think, the future material, with the sustainable aspect, with the functional aspects, which are also kind of the main part. And in the middle, you see kind of different structures, different designs, but also the combination of a nice instep, knitted on a flatbed knitting machine, but with a felted upper itself. So you also see the combinations, still the combinations with the same material, with wool. And I think this is the best advantage we have to work together here, to network, and also to create the future, but of course with you, design for circularity. So thank you very much for your time, and looking forward to the discussions with you.
Thank you very much, Alexander. Probably have many questions. It's possible we answer in the end of webinar directly from the speakers or online. The Woolmark company answer online in case it's not possible answer at all questions. Now I introduce Kiefer von Zoe, Luca Lombardi, Junior Marketing Manager, who will present sustainability in footwear and product insoles for shoes. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And thank you also for inviting me and Kiefer to take part in this workshop. So good morning, everybody. So far, we heard about the advantages and the opportunities given by the usage of wool in footwear. But what about the internal components of a shoe and their sustainability? That's the question I'd like to answer within my presentation. First of all, let me introduce my company. Kiefer is an Italian innovative R&D company. We're based in the area of Milan, and here you can see some of our numbers. In particular, I'd like to focus your attention of two data. The first one is that 13 out of 14 of our materials are completely bio-based, and the second one is that we developed the only one shankboard on the market that allows the production of insoles without steel shanks. Our company has a clear mission and vision, and in particular this is to design and to produce the most performant materials for the fashions and design industries. We always intended sustainability as a huge opportunity, not just in terms of improving our impact, but also as the opportunity to reach the highest performance in terms of mechanical and technical performance available. You can see our line, and in the next slide I will introduce you all the materials and all the characteristics they have. In particular, our approach, our effort in terms of sustainability means that our R&D department always focus its attention to use virgin, certified, and pure materials, pure raw materials. In particular, all the shankboards we developed comes from FSC certified cellulose, so cellulose that comes from responsibly managed forests. Also, we focus our attention on biodegradability in order to assurance that our materials have the lowest impact as possible, even in the disposal phase, so even at the end of the life cycle. Also, our materials are completely recyclable, in particular the shankboards and the reinforcements materials, and also all the materials we developed for the reinforcement are cotton-based, and the cotton is GRS certified. Sustainability, it's important for us not just for the materials, but also for the factory and the plants where the materials are produced. In particular, we have all our plants certified in terms of energy, in terms of safety of the workers, and in terms of environmental impact. What about our competencies? First of all, we produce materials for the footwear market, in particular shankboards, latex foams, and reinforcement materials. And also, we launched last year a consulting division. These are our shankboards. In particular, we have KPB, NP Green, and KR1, which are meant to produce the lower and the upper part of the insole. And then we have SQN, which was designed to be an alternative to the traditional materials used for the flexible part of the insole. KPB, NP Green, and SQN are 100% made with virgin cellulose from responsibly managed forests. They are 100% biodegradable and recyclable with paper. And then we have KR1, which is our last shankboard we developed the last year. It is produced with 100% cellulose coming from responsibly managed forests, but this is cellulose at first recycle. And we recycle also the production scraps coming from the production of KPB. So it's our first approach in the sense of in-house circular economy. And Care One as well is 100% biodegradable and recyclable with paper. These are our lactic foams. They all contain a very high percentage of natural latex, but in particular, Evea and Puma are 100% are made of 100% natural latex, and they are the first foams on the market FSC certified. Then we have the reinforced materials. In particular, PK is a paper reinforcement. Then we have Bio, which is meant to produce counters and toe puffs. And then we have Panama, Belize, and Nicaragua, which are meant to reinforce the upper. Bio, Panama, Belize, and Nicaragua are all GRS certified and fully biodegradable. The application of our materials are mainly in the footwear market. We can realize insoles, in particular with the shank boards and the lactic foams. Then our insoles can be lasered. So KPB, NP Green, and Care One can be lasered. Then we can produce with Bio the counters and also the toe puffs. In our group, there is an insole factory which can produce all of these products, and that's a very important and strategic asset for us because it allows us to go deeper with the R&D activities and, of course, to test the materials and their performance. The business location of Kiefer Fonzo and also of the insole factory of our group is in the Milan area, in particular in the footwear district of Parabiago. And then we are directly present also in Veneto. We have an agent in Padua. Then we have an agent even in Tuscany, based in Florence, as well as an agent for the Marche in Macerata, and also an agent for Emilia-Romagna in San Mauro Pascoli. So we try to cover all the most important footwear districts all around Italy. Thank you very much.
Compliment. Thank you very much all speakers, all guests. In case I have a question, now is possible ask.
Does it work, my microphone? Okay. No, I just wanted to add, because as you understand, it's really, the creation of the upper shoes is really very complex. And today we concentrate on the flatbed knit, but we will have future a series of other workshops internationally where we then explain and discuss other solutions also for the creation of upper shoes and also other materials. We know what we will find.
It's very important, the synergy of the supply chain. For this is we give to the designer, to the factory, the incredible the value.
Yeah. Yes, we hope that we really brought to your attention a lot of solutions, that you enjoyed this presentation. And it's not finished, because after we will go through.
Yes, because after we have one workshop inside the house and discover the house and the technology, and see many sample is directly exposed in the hall down. And in the end, we want to invite the present for one small breakfast.
Do we have any questions? Sì, Tommaso, vero?
Which is for a STOLL company, and the 3D technology of creating a sole.
You need to make microphone.
Good morning, everyone. My question is for a STOLL company, I was saying, and I would like to know the 3D technology. Does it create a durable product, or it has like limitation according to the durability, since it's made all with one part, with one machine? What I thought, but I really don't know as much as for sure you. And I would like to know if the fact that one material creates the whole part of the shoe has a limitation on the durability of the product. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for the question. I think this question has like two aspects. Oh, sorry. Thank you for the question. I think this question has two aspects. At first, the point of 3D or 2D is not very important when it comes to the material, because you can integrate different materials. You can integrate different synthetic fibers into, for example, such a 3D knit. Yeah, when you say, okay, as I said, the inside and the outside could be different materials, but also within the surface, you can change your material very flexible. And there you already have the option of have kind of a very durable product. But for sure, you need additional topics like the inner liner, for example, a heel stability with extra parts, which of course improve then the stability and the durability of the shoe itself. I mean, when we speak about sock shoes, you can imagine you don't want to have a very, very flexible sock, have a sole on side, but you don't have the stiffness most of the time, right? Most of the time. But for sure, you can already add lots of functionality with, for example, fusible yarns. But honestly, you need additional parts. Yeah. Of course, there are areas in the footwear industry or types like barefoot shoes where you really want to have kind of a very soft option where you just have a limited option of additional parts like the laces or stiffness for the laces. Yeah. I hope that helps.
More question?
That means that we were quite exhausted in what we explained. Okay. Do you have any questions from the online audience? Yes. Do you? Yeah, okay. Kindly, we have questions from online. Kindly advise which micron categories may be best suitable for the shoe uppers. Of course, here also this depends on what you want to create, what type of shoe upper you want to design. So usually we were thinking to propose from 19.5 micron. So if you think about the barefoot, to have softer wool next to the feet, or even up to also 25 micron in order to think about also to have more abrasion and more resistance. So that's from 19.5 to 25 micron. Okay. Okay, do you think, another question, so I try to read. Do you think the same level of durability can be achieved with only wool material opposed to the traditional used materials? I think this already was partly answered before by STOLL. So also here, personally, I think that really it depends also what the designer, the product manager wants to create, what type of shoes we want to create. Of course, we can also, if you want to go more, let's say, biodegradable wise, because you can also have, even I think if you have your upper shoe, it can be felt, and then we will have also a more durable and long-lasting product. So I think we always have to evaluate so what you want to the performance you want to achieve. Okay.
One more question, please.
Okay. Focus on end of life of the shoes. How to dispose recycled. Yeah, I also think partly this has been answered already in the presentation. So if we go with 100 monofibers, of course, then we can recycle. It can go into the closed loop recycle. Then, of course, I think what we need to discover and to exchange. And this depends also here, we need all the partners together how to create. We learned that you have bio-based materials, you have also, I think, biodegradable materials. It's also then to think about how the shoe can be constructed, if they can be after life, how do you say it, split it, separate in order to be to give the possibility to decompose. Of course, if you look into the the natural blends, then we have the biodegradation. Was it clear?
No, in case I have more question, Birgit got to answer
Yeah,
online.
no.
Or you want to answer now? More?
But I think that's really the wash and care instructions. So we, the Woolmark company, we have our specifications for the machine washability. And if the designer, product manager, the brand desires to have the machine washability, of course, the yarn needs to be treated. And then also the construction of the upper shoes. And then we have our specifications. Of course, that's for all the audience, so in-house and online. We will send all our toolkits to your attention in order that you have also our specifications and all the other information regarding the construction of the wool upper we developed.
Thank you very much. Thank you, the Woolmark company. Thank you, Francesco, Birgit. Thank you, Roberto. Thank you, Pamela, Alexander, Luca. Francesco, want to speak bye to the guests?
No, thank you. Thank you, Loreto, and thank you for hosting this amazing workshop. And what is important is that we will send to all the participants here and online the toolkit about woolen footwear, and also all the information to have the right contacts from the speakers that we have here, and of course a recording of the presentation, so you can easily follow up at home. So thank you, Loreto, thank you, Diaz, thanks to the speakers, thanks to everyone, especially thanks to you for attending the workshop. Have a good day, enjoy the rest of the workshop. Bye.
Thank you.